Hi all! Today we are going to see about the 10 popular games that originated in ancient India. Since ancient times, games are played in India for recreation, mental and physical fitness. From indoor games to outdoor sports, some are now played internationally. Here is the history behind some of these games. Chess. Chess was devised in India and was known as Ashtapada, which means 64 squares. Unlike how the game is played today, it used to be played with a dice on a checkered board, but without black and white squares. A few years later, the game was called Chaturanga, quadripartite. It was divided into 4 parts called Angas, which were symbolic of the 4 branches of an army. Just like the real ancient Indian army, it had pieces called elephants, chariots, horses, soldiers, and was played to devise war strategies. In 600 CE, Persian learned this game and named it Shatranj. Checkmate comes from the Persian term in the game. Shahamat, meaning the king is dead. Carrom, a strike and pocket table game that is popularly played throughout South Asia and in a few Middle Eastern countries. Carrom is said to have originated in the Indian subcontinent. Though there isn't any particular proof, it is considered that Indian Maharajas invented the game centuries ago. You can find an ancient glass carrom board in Patiala, Punjab. Carrom gained popularity after the First World War and is now played at family and social gatherings for fun. Kho-Kho. Kho-Kho, or the game of chase, was earlier played in Maharashtra. It is one of the most popular traditional Indian sports. During ancient times, it was played on chariots and was called Rathera. When Akhil Maharashtra Sharika Shikshan Mandal published the rules of the game officially in 1935, Kho-Kho became popular. Under the Kho-Kho Federation of India, the first Kho-Kho championship was organized in 1959. In 1982, it was included in the Indian Olympic Association. Bullfighting. The bull taming sport of Tamil Nadu is known by various names in India, such as Jallikattu, Manju Viratu, etc. It is mostly played during Pongal celebration. Bulls are specifically bred for this sport. Earlier, bullfighting was a popular sport of Tamil Nadu's ancient tribe. It became a platform to showcase bravery, a form of entertainment, and a way to win some prize money. Cards. Modern playing cards originated in ancient India and were called Kridapatram. They were made of cloth pieces and showcased ancient designs from the Ramayana and Mahabharata. In medieval India, they were called Ganifa cards and were played in the royal courts of Rajputana. Kashmir, then Kashyapa Meru, Orissa, then Utkal, the Deccan area, as well as Nepal. These cards were all handmade and traditionally painted. To provide the card with sufficient thickness, several cloth pieces were glued together. Later, cards were played by all levels of society, made from tortoise shell or ivory and decorated with pearls and precious metals. Polo. Though ancient polo finds its origin in Central Asia, it was Manipur in India that set the foundation for modern polo. When Babur founded the Mughal Empire in 15th century, he made the sport quite famous. Later, when the British came to India, they adopted the sport and it gradually spread across the world. Mostly, the game is played on horseback, but the British invented another variation on elephant back. Elephant polo is today popular in the Indian state of Rajasthan and countries like Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Thailand. Martial arts. Ancient India has been the origin of judo karate. It was called Kalari Payate. The art has traveled to the east along with Buddhist religion. Buddhist monk who traveled barefoot from India to the east to spread the gospel of Buddha possesses this skill. This technique of defense was very helpful for them as they traveled individually or in small groups. Kabaddi. Kabaddi is a contact sport that is around 4,000 years old. It is another sport that started in Tamil Nadu and developed from ancient village defense tactics and group hunting. Kabaddi is an umbrella term and has many other forms under it. Sanjeevani, Amar, Punjabi and Gamini, as well as some international rules. Combining characteristics of rugby and wrestling, Kabaddi requires great power and skill. The game goes for 40 minutes and has 7 players on each side. Ludo. Ludo is a board game and we have played at least once. Earlier in India, it was called Pachisi and the board was made of cloth or jute. A depiction of Pachisi is found in the cave of Ajanta in Maharashtra, showing that the game was quite popular in medieval era. The Mughal emperors of India such as Akbar also liked playing Pachisi. In the late 19th century, different variations of the same game were played in England. In 1896, a similar game appeared that was called Ludo and thus the name was patented. Snakes and ladders. In ancient India, snakes and ladders was called Mokshapatam, Mokshapat and Paramapadam. Created by Saint Gyandev in 13th century, this game of vice and virtues was used in Hindu Dharma to teach good values to children. The snakes represented vice and the ladders virtues. The squares where the ladders were found depicted virtues. For example, square 12 was faith, 51 was reliability, 76 was knowledge, and so on. Similarly, the squares where the snakes were found were known as vices. Square 41 was disobedience, 49 was vulgarity, 84 was anger, etc. The 100th square represented moksha or nirvana. With time, the game underwent several changes, but the meaning remained the same. If you do good deeds, you go to heaven, and if you do bad deeds, you will be reborn. There is so many interesting things to learn and know about. For more interesting videos like this, like, share and subscribe.